1-500 4500. If you got hurt, you gotta give them a try. Call my injury guy.
Hey guys, Chicago injury lawyer Scott DeSalvo, also known as My Injury Guy, shooting another video for you. And I was having a conversation with a guy who had been talking to a lawyer, hadn't signed up with him yet, and then he saw one of my videos on YouTube, watched him, wanted to talk to me. We talked about his case, and he thought, he had to hide the fact that he was talking to other lawyers. And I told him, hey, buddy, that's the name of the game. You need to work with somebody who you like. And so he said, if you were looking for a lawyer yourself or for somebody in your family, who would you hire, right? And that, that made me think, what things do I think make a difference for a client in a case, okay? So basically, what are the two most important things about an injury lawyer that you want? I would say the two most important things, the first one is communication, right? So there's definitely a trend in personal injury law. Personal injury law has always been a big business for at least since the 70s and 80s. And it's always been, there's always been firms that pop some giant cases, or they start out rich and they take their family money and, spend millions of dollars on advertising. That happens now. We got trust fund guys who, as far as I know, have never been to court, never tried a case, or haven't touched a case in 30 years, but they advertise, right? And then we've got out-of-state guys with family money who come to Chicagoland and advertise, even though they don't live in Chicago, they're not from Chicago, they don't really stay in Chicago, and they wouldn't know your name from Adam, right? And I get a lot of phone calls from people who call me and say, oh, such and such firm has represented me for 2 years now, and I've never talked to a lawyer. And the young lady that is assigned to my case is very nice, but she can't really tell me anything. She gives me the standard responses, and I don't feel like anybody's actually looking at or working on my case, right? So communication is number one. And from what I'm hearing from a lot of people who call me, who worked with an attorney before, no, attorneys don't want to talk to clients. They don't, they're not doing it. So it's very different in my office. It's very different. Every case in my office is primarily assigned to me. And I've been doing this for about 30 years. And, we have meetings, probably at least two meetings a week. Sometimes we have a meeting every day. Some weeks we have one meeting, but usually about 2 meetings a day. And what we do on those meetings is we continually go through our cases. And I've got a system set up in my office where if a case is we call it a hot potato in my office, because I invented the name for it. And that's why we call it a hot potato. Cases that need attention, that can't fall off our radar, I'll follow up every day with my team to make sure what's happening on your case, what needs to be happening, is actually happening. So it's communication, right? But the second thing is experience, right? So I will tell you, I had my first jury trial less than 30 days into my law practice. I never worked at a law firm as a law student. I didn't clerk. I had to work. I had to work to support me, pay for school. Of course, I took out lawsuit loans like everybody, but every year I went to college and law school, the rates went up every year. Sometimes 2, 3, 4%, sometimes 10, 12, 14%. So by the time I was done with law school, the price of law school was much higher than it was when I started, and same with college. So anyway, I still had debt when I got out of school, but my point is, I didn't have family members. I didn't have anybody, a friend, a cousin, some guy I met in law school's dad was an injury lawyer and he was looking for a clerk. I had no connections and no idea what I was doing, but I had a jury trial my first month of law practice. I had never even seen one at that point. And I went in and I beat the tar out of the defense attorney. The defense attorney after the trial said, I've never tried a case against a more prepared plaintiff's lawyer. And, how long have you been practicing and blah, 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 blah.
Hey, you got hurt in an accident?
Yeah.
You got an injury guy?
No.
Then you gotta call my injury guy.
If you got hurt in any kind of accident or injury, call My Injury Guy. You can call anytime, day or night, for a free consultation. 312-500-4500.
I called my injury guy, and I'm glad I did. You should call my injury guy too.
Call my injury guy.
312-500-4500. If you got hurt, you gotta give him a try. Call my injury guy.
And I had to admit, I just said, yeah, I've never tried a case before. Literally, I went to the law library. The trial was set to start on a Monday. And on Friday, after work, or I took my lunch break on Friday and bought a bunch of books on how to try a case, including one of the books was entitled Your First Trial, Where to Stand, What to Say. Because remember, I had never even seen one. And I ended up knocking it out of the park. We ended up with like 3 or 4 times the medical bills on a really small, hard to prove case. So it was a good one and it was worth it. It was worthwhile. And that's kind of when I knew maybe I have a talent for it, right? And so from then, I have tried a lot of cases. I've done a ton of litigation. I've done a lot of jury trials. I've done everything, and I'm almost 30 years into it. And what does that mean? Well, I could have been one of those guys who just cared about money, who just cared about how much can I advertise, how many cases can I sign up, and I'm going to have other lawyers work on all my cases. I'm not going to become a competent trial lawyer. I'm not going to be a guy who wants to improve. I'm just going to sign up cases and settle them from what I get, but that's not who I am. A lot of people who know me personally, they'd be like, oh, he's kind of mean. He looks crabby all the time. This kind of thing. And I do have a severe face when I'm out in public and I'm thinking about things. But, the truth is I care about people a lot, and I care that people understand the process. And if you watch some of my other videos, I'm sure that's like psychologically tied into my father getting disabled when he was like 35 in a work accident, right? But because I care about people, I worked really hard to get a lot of experience. So actual experience in the courtroom, and I've also flown all over the country to graduate from the Keenan Edge program. It's a trial lawyers college that not many people have completed the certification. So if you complete that certification, you're a pretty darn good lawyer. I've also, spent a month on Jerry Spence's ranch. Jerry Spence is considered the greatest living trial lawyer. And I spent a month with him and his team, and it was intensive, and very, very few lawyers have that certification. It doesn't stop there. I never rest improving client communications, making sure my clients know how these cases work, improving the in-office process, improving my skills in developing, analyzing, and proving a case to help my clients. And that's experience matters, but my point is it also matters the experience your guy has. So your guy could be practicing law for 30 or 40 years, but what has he done to really take hold of his career and become the best he could be so that you get the best outcome you deserve? Okay? So anyway, I digress. The video is getting too long. The bottom line point is, to me, excellent communication and experience, the right kind of experience, are the two things I'd look for in an injury lawyer if I got hurt. So hope that information helps you. If I can help you in any way, call me anytime, night or day, 312-500-4500. 4500. 312-500-4500. And stay tuned to the end of the video because I have created a ton of tools and collected a ton of information that I give out to injured people for free, and people love these things. I'm getting so much positive feedback on my quizzes and all the rest, so watch till the end and I explain to you how to access all that stuff 100% free. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. If you or anyone you know has been hurt in an accident and needs a lawyer or even just has questions, give me a call anytime, day or night, at 312-500-4500. You can call me anytime, day or night, and the consultation is free. That's 312-500-4500. Or if you're not ready to talk to a lawyer, I made 2 great tools that really help people out that you can use for free on my website. The links are in the description. The first one is called the Case Cash Calculator, and it tells you what your case might be worth. The other is called the Good Case Calculator, and it tells you whether you might have a good case or you might have a case with some challenges. The best part is that they're 100% free to use on my website, and it only takes you 20 seconds flat to answer 7 multiple choice questions right off the top of your head. And then you get custom information about your particular injury situation fast and for free. So check them out, links in the description. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel. I release 2 new videos every week, and this way you'll get notice of them. And if you have a question you'd like answered in a video, just leave a comment with your question in the comments section. Finally, if you enjoy my videos or if I've helped you in any way, I hope you'll consider doing me a favor. Injury law is a very competitive field, and I like having a small independent firm so I can help people who need it. People really rely on Google reviews when deciding who to hire, so I hope you'll consider leaving me a 5-star review on Google. It only takes a few seconds, but it's a favor to me that I would really appreciate. The link is in the description. You just go to that link, click 5 stars, say a kind word, hit submit, and you're done. Once again, I hope you and your family are well, and if anyone you know needs an injury lawyer or has questions, please send them my way by calling 312-500-4500. Thanks again for watching. Take care.
312-500-4500. If you got hurt, you gotta give 'em a try. Call my injury guy.
Call my injury guy.
312-500-4500. If you got hurt, you gotta give 'em a try.